I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima and Robyn LaVassaur and Jim Reed, and we are doing a Be Your Best series for loan officers. And this one, the topic is scarcity versus abundance. And we're recording this in the beginning of the year, and it's that time of year where a lot of people get scared. And let's not forget, we're coming off of Mortgage Disneyland, and the market is changing. So Robyn, give me some thoughts around love versus fear. I call this topic love versus fear, scarcity versus abundance. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think it's something that we deal with all the time. It's funny how, especially in the sales mindset, we're such emotional creatures, right, by nature. And so we tend to hold on to something. You call it catastrophizing, but we tend to hold on to something. And the biggest risk that I see in myself and in the sales staff in general, loan officers, or really any sales industry, is when they're in a scarcity mindset, their behavior actually goes down, not up, right? There's paralyzation, if you will, from the fear that they are feeling about what's next. And that doesn't ever create, it's very different from having an abundant mindset where there's a little pep in your step. You're excited to go see the next person. Your energy is contagious. When there's scarcity, you would think that would mean that they would go out and want to do more, but oftentimes it actually makes them pull further back from wanting to go sell, from feeling the confidence that they need to go introduce themselves to more people. It's really interesting. Jimmie, do you see the same thing in your branch as far as loan officers go?
Well, yeah, I do. I think when this topic comes up, I always think of, okay, where does it come from, right? How does it affect people, and how do you overcome it? Like tactically. And for my branch, what I see is really, it's kind of polarizing. It's one of two types of loan officers. There's the kind that are like, heck yeah, there's more opportunity. Let's do a group text in the morning, get fired up, let's go to work. And there's the other kind who try to find a Nordstrom's or a Macy's and a credit card, and they go shopping and do 4-hour lunches. And they hide from the issues. And so, yeah, that's exactly what I see. I see those two types of responses. I don't see much in the middle, which is kind of interesting to me.
I'll tell you a quick story. About 6 years ago, I started going to see a therapist. And that used to embarrass me to admit that, but I think it's great. I've been going for 6 years. I love it. So I'm meeting with my therapist, Joan, and she says, Todd, let me tell you what you have going on. There's a little man on your shoulder, and he looks kind of like a Jesus character, she said. He's about 4 inches tall, and he tells you things like in your ear. He says, you're doing great. Man, a dumb farm boy runs a big company. Wow, you're really killing it. You're saving lots of money. Your house is nice, things like that. She said, but your problem is the little man on the other shoulder is 11 inches tall, and he's red. He's got little horns. And she said, this cracked me up. She said, he's naked. I'm not sure why she said that. And he whispers in your ear, Todd, you made that strategic mistake. You missed it. Todd, you didn't hire that loan officer. You missed that branch opportunity. Like, maybe your time is done. Maybe you're just a fraud. And she said, what I want you to do is take the 11, everyone has both. She said, I want you to take the 11-inch red man and shrink him down to about 2 inches. And I want your white guy on your right shoulder to grow to 11 inches. And it's one of the best metaphors I ever heard. What I suffered from back then was what Robyn called, a term that psychologists use sometimes called catastrophication. And it's like you lose a loan deal and you're like, oh my God, our rates suck and I'm going to lose every single one. And we've all had those days. I have, right? So so that's a metaphor. I had it really bad. And it was my way of motivating myself. Because when I'm in fear mode, I'm in action mode. And I learned that from my father. And so my father ran a couple companies, and here was, I'm not exaggerating, here was our conversation several times around the dinner table. We're eating dinner. Hey, Dad, how's business? Oh my God, you know, we had our best month ever. We did more machinery this month than we ever did ever. Like, we set a new record out of 27 years. Oh, and I'm all excited eating. He says, but next month looks horrible, and actually may have to lay off half the staff. Now, he never did those things. Like, I'm sure he did some layoffs in his past, but it was, he never, what he talked about, what I noticed over the years is that's never really happened. He was doing that to motivate himself. And so I learned to motivate myself that way. And I think that's at the root. These belief systems are at the root of why people do that. And one more comment, and then I want to go back to Robyn. So now what I believe, being 6 years in therapy and being a professional coach and all that stuff, I look at our world and I literally think it's filled with fear, guilt, shame. It's everywhere. Now I recognize it. You watch the news, watch 30 minutes of the news, see how happy you are. I mean, it's like the world's ending. Oh my God. Because that's what sells. And I'm just telling you, fear is a disease. I look at it now as a disease. And today, I just don't have it. I just don't. And some people might say, oh, Todd, you're successful. That's why you don't have it. No, I was successful 6 years ago. That's not why. It's the quality of my life is how I feel. And that's what I know today. So some people are like, Todd, you always see things through rose-colored glasses. And I've learned to look at them. I say, you know what? It's worked pretty damn good for me. I'm very happy. Like, I'm truly happy. But I'm happier, much happier, since I got rid of all that fear and catastrophification. So, Robyn, how do people get over this? That's what are the tips to get over?
You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking of, you know, how many times people strike out as professional athletes, right? Like, how many times do you get up, swing the bat, and not get a hit? And sometimes that requires, all of a sudden they'll call it a slump, right? And all of a sudden everyone's talking about the slump. And pretty soon you start to believe that maybe you've lost it. Maybe it's not there. Well, the truth is you're the same guy that made it to the MLB because you could probably hit better than 99% of people in America can hit a baseball, right? Like, so you're in the MLB and all of a sudden you're in a slump. But if you believe it, if you believe all the things around you, and there's so much, the mortgage industry is prime example, coming off the 2 best years we've ever had in mortgage, right? The 2 very best. And I believe in my heart of hearts, the people that just got in have a gift and a curse. They saw something that they won't get to see for many, many more years. Do I think it'll happen again? I do, but you know, it'll probably be a long ways off, but they don't know any different as well, which is beautiful. The people that were here and got to experience it, but had never seen it before and just, man, best couple of years of their life, they got so comfortable and spoiled by it that they were allowed, all of us were allowed to put our skills on the shelf, if you will, because the phone was just ringing. The text messages are coming in, the quick Facebook messages. I mean, loans are coming out of the woodworks of people saying, hey, I can't even hear back from my local bank or credit union, so can I talk to you? And next thing you know, you've got another one booked. And that was consistent in the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, that is literally disappearing pretty quickly for people. And they're like, what do I do? And some of them are paralyzed with that fear right now. And I see that. And what I have encouraged them to do is, all of our students, everybody that we're working with, is go back to what you were doing a few years ago to be successful, because that's really the market that we're actually in now. And you had it then. And so they're doing that and they're getting the results, which is awesome. But it's funny how they actually think that that they need to do something new or different or reinvent themselves. They don't. They need to go back to the skill sets that they didn't actually have to use, but they've always been there. And so building that confidence back up. Is that something that you're seeing, Jim?
Yeah. So, and stop hanging out with people who are scared.
Yes. Amen.
Right? Stop
Amen
hanging out
to that.
with people who are scared, right? So it's scarcity versus abundance. And I mean, what you guys are talking about in my mind is how do I move forward? How do I focus forward? Right? So people live in the past. are depressed and people who live in the future are stressed. Someone taught me that once. I believe it. So it's like, hey, how do you operate out of abundance when your reality changed and there's less? For me, it's tactical, right? So what I do with and what I think about is worst case scenario. So I just teach my people and myself and the people in our coaching program, what's the worst case scenario, Robyn, for you? I don't know. Maybe loans go away and mortgages are done some other way.
Yes.
And now you have to go learn a new product to sell and maybe make a lot less money. Maybe not. Is that so bad?
Nope.
It's not. And if I can get to the worst case scenario and realize that I can live through that, when I get my people and my coaching students to realize you can live through the worst case scenario, then they're able to focus forward, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple ways you can do that. One is that little exercise I just did. The other is like, Todd, do you know how many loans closed in my market last month? And it's a slower market. It's down like 40% from the peak.
5,000.
I don't know either, but it's way more than I need.
I do that same thing, Jim. Go look up how many loans
There's way
recorded in
more
your
loans
county.
than my loan officers need or I need in my local market. And with the opportunities that are happening in this changing market, I can do loans anywhere in the country pretty well.
Yeah.
So there are so many more loans than I need. It's ridiculous. So if I can live through the worst case scenario and I can realize that there's more loans than I need, I can start to act instead of operating out of fear. And I think that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah, you're hitting on the law of abundance, and there is thousands and thousands and thousands of loans done every single day. So I agree with that. You know, you made me think of a story. I was coaching someone, and I'm driving to work, and this person calls me and says, "Oh my God, I've got this going on, and I've got this going on, and I'm so overwhelmed," and just was going on and on. And I said, "Hey, where are you at right now?" She said, "I'm sitting at my desk." I said, "Okay, shut your eyes." And for those listeners, do this. Go with me here for just a second. She shut her eyes. She said, "Okay." I said, "I want you to imagine that you just woke up and you're on a dirt floor. And you look around in your little shed and there's nothing to eat. And you already know you have no money, like literally no money to your name. And you look at your two children who are sleeping and they both have AIDS and you know they're going to die. I said, "Okay, open your eyes." She says, "Okay." I said, "You're talking to me like you were that lady. There are people who really woke up that way this morning. So stop being so damn selfish. You have some problems. We'll talk about the problems in a minute, but you're in a space that is not characterized by your situation. This person's particular loan officer is making like 600 grand a year and has some team problems." I'm like, you're making this super mountain out of something that's really a little tiny anthill. Just step over the anthill. We'll figure it out. And but that fear-based, that all that stuff comes from this lack of this fear-based mentality. And I'm telling you, it's almost like if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I might just start I don't know what you would call it, maybe be a fear coach or something. Like I'm that passionate about it. I literally think people live in fear every single day of their lives. I talked to a branch manager yesterday, works for me for 18 years, and he's scared as hell. And I said, "Buddy, how long have we been working together?" He said, 18, 17 years. I said, "How much money do you make?" "Just shy of 7 figures." I said, what's the trajectory look like over 18 years? He says, "Up, up, up." I said, "And it will be. It will be."
Yeah. You know, you're talking about managing our own expectations. That's what you're, to me, like, I look at people and I'm like, we all managed our expectations. We all knew this was a great run. We all knew it was come a time when we were going to have to buckle up. We managed our own expectations, right? So that we never felt entitled. I was listening to
Really good
the
word.
radio. Me and my son Nick, every morning we listen to this radio show on the way to school, and it's Rob, anybody, and Dawn. Okay, so this guy Rob is pretty smart. I mean, at first I thought he was kind of a weirdo, but he's pretty smart. And he was talking about this exact topic. He was talking about managing your own expectations stops you from feeling entitled. Because once you feel entitled, now you're in defense mode and you're not focusing forward. So it's really, how do I manage my own expectation? And one of the ways that I do it with my guys and anybody in my coaching program, my guys and girls, more problems, more money. No problems, no money. If you really thought that it was going to be easy to close 20 loans a month and hire 5 people and keep them happy, you didn't really think that, did you? I mean, really, did you think it was going to be easy? Like, nope. Okay, then. More problems, more money. No problems, no money.
One last thing, Robyn, what do you say? What do you say to people? Like, I'm looking at you guys, and you guys, I never want to sound braggart, but I'm kind of done being so humble either. And on this podcast, I'm not going to be humble about it. You guys, you two, make multiple millions. You run big branches, you're executives, you help run a mortgage company. Jim runs the coaching division. Robyn, you oversee all of sales. I mean, you're big time. Now, people listening to this are going to think, well, easy for them to say they got millions of dollars in the bank. So what do you say to that, Robyn?
Yeah, I think that I would say that I didn't at one time, but I had to keep an abundant mindset. And so I've chosen positivity my entire life, basically. I've chosen to not let myself get overcome by fear. And Jim had a great point where he said, don't hang out with people who are scared. You have to hang out with people that push you all the time to get better. You don't see a lot of uber successful people. I mean, we're on a minuscule scale. You think people like Ed Milet or, some of the big dogs in just success in general, and they podcast the crud out of it. And what they're always saying, they're always trying to get better. They're always trying to grow. They're always trying to improve every aspect of their life. And I think that, when people get so overcome, they lose sight of why we're doing this to begin with. And so when you are scared, you become almost like a hyena, right? Where you'll just eat something to eat it. You're not even, you're there in that regard versus really thinking about helping a family get into a home, or really serving a realtor partner as a great value added relationship that'll go long term. And instead you're like, I just hope they have one lead, right? You're focused more on your closings than you are on your activity that you do every single day, and trusting that you have the skills to create results. They might not be instant, but they will come if you keep doing them. And so what I would say to people is that do the work no matter what, even if you're scared. You should be more scared that you didn't pick up the phone than if you did. Right? You should be more scared if you didn't see some people face to face that day than if you chose to. And even if you aren't getting the result right then, keep doing it, because I don't know of a single person that has stayed persistent and not come out on top. But you've got to stay persistent, both in how you feel in your head, in your heart, and then with your activity. It really does take all three.
I love it. Listen, guys, our goal is to keep these podcasts short and impactful and have some fun so that you can learn from some people. We all work for a mortgage company, and we want to, this is part of giving back. This is part of helping others. And it's a big thing that all three of us share. So I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, text it to a friend, one friend, right? There's a loan officer that that's like, hey, this would be timely for this person. Just text it out to them and have some fun. They'll appreciate it. I do it all the time. If I listen to a great podcast, Robyn sends me hers, Jimmie sends me his, I send him mine. Like, that's part of that positivity. It's impossible for me to go for a run in the morning and listen to a great podcast and not feel better. It's impossible. So I do it every day. Okay. So guys, I hope you enjoy it. Go out and make it a great day. Have fun. Bye guys.